Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Good morning to everyone. Good morning. It's a big topic that's going on this morning. Everybody around the nation are making big fun about, or making a big stink about. I just want to know, what is white privilege? What's the difference between white and black privileges? Everybody soon to be upset at this topic this morning. This topic has made world news. Like I had my man Patrick Hamilton. I told Patrick Hamilton, y'all don't know Patrick Hamilton, he's a black guy that he's agreed with. And he was just telling me some different things about white privileges. I just want to know his side of the story. What is it? I see no color. I see no color. I see people. But people is making a big issue about this, that white people have more privileges than blacks. Of course, in some cases that is, because I ran into it a lot myself. Ain't no black privilege. Okay, I ran into a lot of this myself. Patrick Hamilton is supposed to be coming on this morning. I asked Patrick Hamilton to come live with me this morning because it's a big issue. You can't help but see color. Right, I see color, but most people are making an issue about this.
Nashville Liberty Weekend, we're doing it real big. The 6th annual Old School Barbecue Fest, starring Kung Function. Plus, Lenny Williams, L.B. Shore, Climax, and Angela Whitbush. Also live, from More Boys, the Yin Yang Twins, the 69 Boys, and we're Cha-Cha sliding with Master C.
10 foot 2 stars.
Sunday, September 1 at Fair Park in Nashville. Tickets on sale now.
Just check the web at oldschoolbbqfestival.com.
The 6th annual Old School Barbecue Fest.
Where's my old school crew?
Be there.
Good morning to everybody this morning. Good morning. This is your man, Celebrity Hype Man T Boston. It's a blessing. Look at my cup, y'all. I'm Nick Big Cup. It's a blessing to be here one more time, you know. It's a blessing to be here in the studio with y'all one more time. Brandon Houston, good morning. My man, it's been a big story about white privileges. What is white privileges? What's the difference between white folks and black folks? We're making a big issue about it. It was a guy that come down to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm talking about Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was a guy that come down to Chattanooga, Tennessee, talked to Hamilton County school officials. And my understanding, I got some emails, I got some calls, I got texts. They were saying that the white folks would stand up and crying and say, I wish I wasn't white. I wish I wasn't white. I wish I wasn't white. So I'm like, what is the big deal about white privileges? Somebody goes around the world and get paid to talk about white privilege, and it's true. It's true. Some cases, some of y'all don't see color. I don't see color, but to some people, racism is very aware. Racism is very aware right here in America. And it's in the school system. And you wonder why the kids act the way they act in school. It's because they see all this stuff on TV. Then when they get to school, they probably see a white woman in class teaching 50 blacks and one. The class is overcrowded. So you got one white woman in class teaching 30 or 40 white or black folks. How do the kids feel now? How do she feel? I had white teachers. I was cool with my white teachers. They was great. But there's coming a problem 20 years later. They're talking about white privilege. This guy going around the world talking about white privileges. White folks, white privilege. So tell me more about white privilege. And a lot of people say white privilege is real. This person said white privilege. I just want to know more about it. Because it's coming to into conflict here in some people's counties. It's dividing people. But it needs to be talked about. This guy's going around talking about it. And he's laying the law down. He's not biting his tongue. That's one thing I like about him. He's not biting his tongue. He's not biting his tongue. He's talking about it. And he's not saying it in a negative way. So people are taking offense. He like white folks. White folks got him in the NFL. White folks got him in the NFL. He signed white folks contracts. So people talking about what he don't like white. Yeah, he like white folks. They write a check for him. If y'all didn't know, they write this man a check. But now since a black man going around the world talking about white privileges, it's a problem. Now, what if a white man going around talking about white privileges? It won't be a problem. We agree with stuff like that. This world has came to a crazy place. Some things okay, some things not. Black folks are minorities. white folks said, or the majority. That's not what he said. He said that blacks cannot be race. He said, what did he say? Because they are black. What did he say? He said that blacks cannot be race because they are black. Okay, that's what he said. I wouldn't. So using me, but white privileges. Okay, so Kim. So this man goes and talks to y'all school board. He goes and talks to y'all school board. Y'all talk. Y'all talk. Y'all talk. My man Mike Shabazz, my man Michael's on here. Michael Neal is a powerful guy. He talks about stuff like this around the world. Michael Neal always talking bring you live. Blacks are no longer the minorities. Okay. Somebody tag Patrick Hamilton in this. I tagged him in it. He wanted to talk about it. I wanted to bring him live because he made Fox News. It was a black man defending this white privilege stuff. And I just want to get his accountability on this. So Michael Neal, I got a friend named Michael Neal. Y'all see my friend Michael Neal on here. I was there. He was based. Okay, so Kim, tell me more about what he was saying, Kim, because everybody calling me, they telling me this, they telling me. I want to get to the bottom of this white privilege thing. Because do you feel like white people got more privilege than blacks, or blacks got? Let me talk to my man Michael Neal. Michael Neal will take it to a whole nother level. He's from out of town. He's a teacher. He's a motivator. Let's get Michael Neal on here first. Good morning, Mr. Neal. Good morning.
Peace and love, my brother. How are you?
So,
Good
what do you think
morning.
about this white privilege? One of my friends, one of the guys I went to school with, he made Fox News this morning talking about white privileges, and I want to bring him live, and he's supposed to be coming live, but he agrees with some of the things white folks do, and I told him, nah, I don't agree with some things do, but he's just gonna break it down. So, what do you think about this white privilege thing? It's going around the world, and how bad have it got?
Well, I don't blame white folks for the exercising their privilege. I don't. What I look at is how can we unify and start to create our own privilege. To get asphyxiated on what white folks do takes away energy of what we can do. I do agree with the brother. Black folks can't be racist. Racist is a system that's set up where you have power to affect people's lives. We don't have power to affect people's lives other than our own. And most of the times when we affect our own, it's in the most negative way, violence, injury, or death. So, to blame somebody, that's like saying, you know what, I'm mad at you because you got a Bentley and you drive it. Drive your Bentley, brother. But I can get my own. Yes, white folks have benefited off of free 400 years of free labor off our backs. So now I have an issue of entitlement, but privilege, if somebody has something, I'm not worried about that. I want to know how I can get it for me and mine and my people.
Okay. So, everybody, okay, where you from again?
Chicago.
All right, but down here in the South, where we at, in the South, where it's a big problem. White privilege is a big problem because a lot of people think that whites are getting more than blacks down here, down deep in the South. How do you feel about that? Do y'all deal with that in Chicago?
Yeah, we deal up with it in Chicago and all over the world. But we as people got to stop getting tired of what white folks can do and start pooling our resources of what we can do.
Okay.
We ain't upset enough to change the outcome. We ain't upset enough to change the narrative. So at that point, all we become is damn complainers. We just complaining. You know,
It's fine, bring it up.
when we go certain places, brother, most of the times in certain areas, we are the majority, but we are the minority because we're so divided. So, whether it be the South, the North, or what have you, yeah, if Look, if I owned a business, brother, of course I'm going to hire my children. Of course I'm going to hire my family members. That only makes sense to pass on generational wealth. So why do we get mad at white folks? Because they do that, and then they hire somebody in their family or whatever that's less qualified than you. That's their business. They're passing on generational wealth. Why don't we do the same?
Wow. You said something now. You right. You right. I agree with you. You right. Wow. All right. Y'all, this is Mr. Neil from Chicago. You got a show. Tell the people about your show that comes on.
Well, lately I've been doing it. My work schedule has changed, but I do Black Love Thursdays every other Thursday now. It used to be every Thursday, but my schedule has changed to that created a conflict with that. But it's all about supporting Black love, whether you marry, single, or divorced, teaching Black folks and teaching Black folks how we can come together and solve our own problems, whether dealing with relationships, whether dealing with finances, whether dealing with anything that helps us to motivate and elevate. We focus on relationships more so than anything because family is the key unit that propels us to do all we can do. When you got family, now that becomes your why. In business, that's become your why. In travel, that becomes your why in everything you do. So I watch people join onto other organizations, and they only come in because they angry, they upset. But once that is subsided, then they're out of it. But love is a constant. Love is universal. So we preach, we talk. It's a community. We talk about love on a consistent basis in many different aspects.
All right, Mr. McInerney, thank you for coming on live, talking about the white bread. Hey, man, keep doing your thing out there in Chicago. Be safe out there, man. Chicago crazy. Be careful out there.
Yes, sir. And you keep doing your thing, brother.
All right,
Thank
man,
you.
I see you. Thank you. Hey, that's brother Michael Neal. They got a big social media thing out of Chicago. Man, they got a movement going on. When I say they got a live, they got a heavy live going on. So we talking about this white privilege thing. So Ken was saying that people took the man the wrong way. Of course, they did take it the wrong way. He was just saying something. He just broke it down in the school system. And now I think it offended Hampton County. Oh, there we go. There we go, y'all. The man of the hour. That's all I want to see. The man of the hour. That's all I want to see. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning, my brother.
What's up, Tony?
I've been trying to reach you.
I know, man. I'm just now leaving the barbershop, man.
You the man of the hour. Everybody,
Can you?
everybody talking about Birmingham. What Birmingham gonna be? When you know that for him.
Yeah, people don't know, man. Me and you go way back, man. We grew up together, went to church together. Our parents know each other, and so people don't realize I grew up in Eastdale. You know, they think just because I'm a Republican that I don't understand, you know, the Black community. I grew up in Eastdale. I grew up with Don Monroe. I grew up with Terry Matthews, Trevor, Bob, all them people from Pin Oak. That's where I grew up at. And so, you know, I want to come on here and just kind of explain to people about this white privilege thing that's going on.
Go ahead.
All right. Basically, like I was telling you on yesterday, we had dang, it done jumped up to 45 people. You see that? Told you. We basically had a guy come in to come and speak to our teachers for the inner city schools. Basically, the teachers that teach at Brainerd, that teach at Howard, that teach at East Lake, Orchard Knob, all of those schools. And from what I heard, the overall presentation was good. He just had a section in the presentation. Let me turn around because this sun is like in my eye. He had a section in the presentation that talked about white privilege and talked about how Black people can't be racist. Talked about basically saying that white people have what they have because of their white skin. And that was the part that made some teachers upset that was in the room that grew up poor, that grew up in Soddy Daisy or Marion County, and they grew up with, poorer than some of us. And so, some of the teachers started sending me slides of what he was saying and all of that. And so I posted the pictures on my Facebook page, and it went viral. Fox News then called me, CNN then called me, Newsweek, all of them trying to figure out, why are we teaching our teachers about white privilege? What does that have to do with our schools failing? And so,
Wow. Come on, pay your phone, bringing up another cheap phone. You got CNN calling you. That's my man, Petra Hampton. We gotta bring Petra back on. His phone is breaking up. That's Petra Hampton. Petra Hampton talking about this white privileges. He made CNN. And I see a lot of people upset at Patrick for what Patrick did. But Patrick, hey, he getting the ratings, he getting the calls. I'm gonna say, can I bring Patrick back on here? Patrick getting the ratings, he getting the calls, he getting people. Basically, he doing it. Good morning.
all right, am I back now?
Go ahead.
All right, am I back now?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did it stop at?
You gonna see it then.
Okay, yeah, CNN called, Newsweek called, and it just went viral. Everybody trying to figure out, why are we teaching our teachers about white privilege? Why are we blaming our white teachers for our kids failing? And that's the problem I have. Our schools are not failing because of white privilege. It's failing because our homes are broken. Our fathers are not engaged in our children's lives. We spent all this money. We spent $5,000 to bring this guy in to teach teachers, when we can invest that money elsewhere and doing other things for kids. So that's my issue, man. It's just, and people saying we took it the wrong way and all of that. No, dude basically stood up and told white people that y'all have white privilege, and that's the reason why our kids are failing. It was so bad, Tony. One of the white teachers stood up in the middle of the whole training and started apologizing for being white. Now, had there been a black person and a white speaker talking about, black entitlement, and a black teacher stood up and started, saying, man, I hate that I'm black, we would all be like, man, what you talking about? And that's just how they felt, from that training. And so I'm just out here, being a voice for people that felt upset about it. And that's all I'm doing, man.
Wow, so everybody watching you right now.
Right.
And by you,
what do you think we should do about it? Well, one, what we need to do in Chattanooga is unify. That's like, I learned this one thing when I went to Coretta Scott. I went to Coretta Scott King's funeral in Atlanta. And Martin Luther King's secretary, I forget her name, but she was there and she spoke. And she made this statement. She said, black people, we need white people to put us in our proper position in America. And she said, and white people need black people to forgive their ancestors for what happened to us. Okay? So we need to forgive. When we forgive, we get our rightful position back in America. That's my message. My message is, instead of us around here fighting us versus them, we need to learn how they do things, how they set up generational wealth. Like the dude before me, like dude was on point where he was like, man, we got to stop worrying about what white folks are doing and do what we need to do to create our own generational wealth for our own family. How long are we going to be fighting against, white, black? They got this. We ain't got that. They got privilege. We don't. All of this. I'm tired of it. Me, I'm working with them to get what I need to get done.
What do you have to tell everybody
everybody
who really don't know
who
you,
really don't know you,
they speculating
they
about you.
speculate about you.
Well, I want you to
Well, I
tell
want
them
you to tell them live on my show
how you feel.
how you feel. Okay.
Tell them.
Tell them. All right. Now, this is the thing. This is my whole point. Most of y'all know that I taught in the public school for around 15 years. I've been in the Brainards, I've been in the Howard, I've been in Orchard Knob, the East Lake, I've had the mentoring program, I've done it all. And basically, my whole stance is, as black people, now, I call myself brown, all right? I'm brown. You're actually brown. But we call ourselves black people. But as black people, we have been doing the same thing for 60 years and expecting different results. We've been voting the same. We've been doing the same stuff in schools and expecting our kids to get better. I made a decision for myself that I'm changing the whole game up, which means I'm no longer voting for Democrats. Why? Because it was the Democrat Party that started the KKK. People don't know this. Go look it up. The Democrat Party was the party that was fighting against King and the civil rights movement. It was the Republican Party that actually freed the slaves. Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Madam C.J. Walker. You go down the line, these were smart black Republicans that used the system to free our people. So what I've decided to do is to take those principles that those Republicans use to help free people from the plantation called government. Our people are stuck on welfare. We stuck on Medicaid. We stuck on all these government programs and we're not moving forward. So what I'm doing, I've switched. I went to the other side and I'm showing y'all that there is another way that we can do this. Now, that doesn't mean I hate black people, but what it does mean is that I'm going to do something different and show you there's another way that we can be better.
Wow. All right, Patrick.
I ain't gonna hold you too long.
Hey, be praying. Be praying.
Be praying for you.
Okay,
Be safe out there. Be safe out there. All right.
And keep watching the line.
Keep watching the line. Say come on. All right.
All right. Wow, y'all, this Patrick Hampton, man. So many people had their mixed doubts about people. You know, and I'm saying we grew up together. We grew up together at church at Mount Canaan Baptist Church. His dad is, hey, his dad is, his dad is a pastor over at Hawkinsville Baptist Church, and you know, I'm getting credit what credit due. We grew up together, and his daddy was a banker. Y'all didn't know his daddy was a real big banker around here, and most of y'all, and it is just crazy. But man, the thing got rid of more. So I like what Patrick said this morning. A lot of people disagree with him, but he said that there's another way. He said he's tired of us living the same way. He's tired of us voting the same way. He's tired of us living the same way. He said he's not racist. He's not against black folks. But he also said that we're brown. He just taking it to he just want to feed his family. I found out he got 2 kids in private school. One of his sons is a hell-of-a football player. I did more research. Instead of talking about people and going behind people, I'm pretty sure people talk about me. Celebrity man, T-Ball, they don't like some of the things I do. So what? But instead of talking about people, get to know people and find the objectives of life. Sometimes we just run our mouth so damn much. I'm going to say it again. We run our mouth so damn much about people that we don't even know people. But this young man right here, he's trying to, that's him and his family. That's what he got to do. He said he's going Republican. So what? I don't care what you is. At the end of the day, we all got to go ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You going to heaven or you going to hell? So it don't matter what you are. Stop trying to judge people and find out who people really is. Y'all don't know Celebrity Hype Man T. I probably hear 1,000 stories about Celebrity Hype Man T. Boston, but do you really know me? And what I understand about Patrick's story this morning, Patrick got a hellified story. Patrick got a hellified story, and it was just amazing. His story got amazing. So Patrick, man, keep doing your thing. A lot of people, he say, she say, but this man done made CNN News. He done made Fox News. He wrote an article, he got a book. This man figured to have one of the biggest things, and something finna happen that I can't talk about. But this young man, something finna break off for this young man. And I hear a lot of people, and I think what it is, we just in the South, and no harm to nobody, because Patrick don't have jobs, and they don't fire Patrick from jobs. That I know Patrick been on here, they don't fire Patrick from jobs. It is crazy. Actually, Patrick got banned for certain radio stations. They ain't gonna call no name. But y'all get to know people. Stop talking about people. Stop running your damn mouth. Find out who people are. You don't know who people are. Find out who people are. Let me get the next call on right quick. I'm sorry about that, y'all, but I appreciate y'all joining live this morning. But this white privilege thing is real. Stop worrying about what people got to say. Live your life. Good morning.
What's up? What's up, big bro?
Where you? Oh, that's my
What's up,
man. How
everybody?
you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
Where you calling from?
I'm in North Carolina right now, outside of.
Y'all phone breaking up. Okay.
I wanted to speak on it, big bro. Be on some real good deep topics, man. I just want to speak my piece on it as well. White privilege, man. White privilege, right? When I think about white privilege, I think about the difference between when the white man kill a black man and a white man go to jail, and we think that they getting prosecuted justifiably, but they not. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is they go to jail, supposedly got to do 10, 20 years, you know, and they call it hard time. But see, when a brother comes from poverty and gets a murder charge for killing a white man or another individual and get the same amount of time, that's hard time, because white privilege means that this individual is probably more than likely with a secret society like the KKK, which is widely known, or other small secret societies that are established, and they get certain privileges while they're incarcerated. They're not doing hard time like the brother was. They getting money on their books, things like that, from people on the outside. This also relates down to the difference between gang violence and organized crime. You feel me? When the white people do something crime wise as an organization, it's called organized crime. You feel me? When blacks do things for violence, it's called gang violence. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different down to the school system. You know, down to what's going on now when white people are bribing the other universities and colleges to accept their kids. You know what I'm saying? And they're not even getting a harsh penalty for these things. You know, that's white privilege. White privilege. It's the fact that walking down any neighborhood, not even just, and this real shit, because you know everybody not from the hood, but it is what it is. But even when a white person walk down the hood, you know what I'm saying? Don't nobody gonna fuck. Ain't nobody really gonna fuck with that white person. Not nowadays. It used to be they couldn't do that, but nowadays when they walk through the neighborhood, ain't nobody gonna fuck with that white man because they have white privileges. On the other hand, a black man walk through a white neighborhood, he gets hounded, he gets stalked, he get looks that funny. You know, they might call the police. The police come harass him. You know, white privilege down to gun control. You know, they exiling us from obtaining firearms because they brainwashing us, man, and pushing the agenda on us for self-destruction so that they can knock us out the race politically or from us becoming powerful figures. You feel me? And the way to combat that, in my own words, would be remain independent. I don't vouch with Democrat or Republic. You know, personally, I'm a Moorish American. I don't have the right to vote anymore. So remain independent, create economic wealth. America, just like the two previous people said before me, I also believe that America is ran on generational inheritance. They might not come out and say that straightforward, but if your family is poor, your offsprings will be poor as well until someone breaks that chain of financial literacy, until someone becomes successful enough that they can handle the burden of their family or their immediate family. You know what I'm saying? White privilege is broken down in so many ways to me that it's beyond me. It's beyond me. It's going to take for us to put our kids back. Let me just say, let me take that back and say this. It's going to take for us to infiltrate the system. It's going to take for you to take your ass to school. It's going to take for you to get out these streets, you know what I'm saying, and do the right thing by the book. As long as we think that violence is going to be the way to combat what the fuck going on, in my opinion, It's not. They just gonna keep locking us up, shooting us in the head, beating our ass. You feel me? We giving them the right to use aggressive force when we going about it that way. But when you infiltrate the system, take your ass to school, get that money up, establish yourself before you try to save another person, it will make the unity of the black people a lot more stronger. You know what I'm saying? As a whole, we don't own shit. I mean, we have entrepreneurs in the black community that have their hands in different things. But as a whole, we don't own specifically one market, or yet can we collectively say that we can have a big impact on the country? And no way, you know? And that's what we got to focus on. Just like everybody else said, it ain't about blaming who is who is who. You know, our ancestors died before, like the dude before me spoke about Booker T and everything. Our ancestors died and did what they did to put us in a position for us to move forward. It's up to us to keep continuing to move forward to free ourselves, or you're gonna remain enslaved, whether you like it or not. You know, and I ain't gonna hold y'all up too much, man. I appreciate everything, bro. Appreciate tuning in.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? One man, two live, third eye, man. I appreciate that,
All right,
bro.
man. Be
Thank you.
careful, man. Go to work, make some money.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you.
All right. Wow. Next caller, please. Wow, this stuff is getting serious out here. We're gonna try to get everybody in. I see people telling me, but I already had a list of people that want to call in. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey Tony, what y'all doing?
What's up?
Not much. I was looking, I'm getting my nails done, but I just want to tell y'all, white privilege is the sense of being born with an entitlement that you feel that you deserve instead of earn based on your race. When you speak of white privilege, you speak of these little white kids whose schools are better than the schools that are in the African American communities. Prime example, go to Hickson High School. Look at how Hickson High School is set up. And then skip over to Brainerd. Same school district, but who has a better facility? It would be Hickson High School. Go and look at Orchard Knob versus Big Ridge. Who has the better facility? Big Ridge. See, they have a sense of entitlement, something that they feel that is owed to them because of their race. Not because they've had to work in a cotton field to get it, not because they've had to go and endure any slavery and pain and racism and discrimination and disrespect to get it. They feel that it is something that is owed to them by everyone. That's what white privilege is. You see a lot of white privilege when you go into the penal system. When you look at a black man sold a half of a gram of cocaine and he's in prison for 30 years, but a white man goes and rapes his stepdaughter and he gets probation. Baby, that's what white privilege is. Your skin gets you what you want when you white, and when you black, it gets you everything that you don't want. And it's very hard for African American people and brown people of any national background to get anywhere because we are not afforded that same white privilege that they get. See, our schools are not as good as theirs. You can look at I think it's a parish in Louisiana, two schools in the same school district, one on one side of the town for the white people. They got Wi-Fi, they got air, computers, laptops, all of these nice amenities. But then you go to the black side of the town and those kids don't have heat or air in their school. They don't have laptops. That's white privilege. And I find that you see a lot of white privileges um, coming out now that it is deemed to be okay. Example, it used to be HBCUs, and for you all who don't know what an HBCU is, that's a historically black college. HBCUs gave grants to whites that attended their schools. But as a black person going to a white school, you couldn't get those same grants. That's white privilege. So it starts within. We, as the African American community, have to demand, not ask, but demand that we are afforded the same amenities that these white folks in their communities have. You can look on the news now in Nashville, Paul's Market. It was a black owned store by a man by the name of
Girl,
Paul
you ain't gonna be
Harper,
on
who
all that.
was.
Give us a story. I just want to know what
Well, I'm
you
just
said.
saying. Listen, he's the late husband of Thelma Harper. Iranians own the store now. They've pulled guns out on black people. They've shot a black woman. They also hit a black man in the head with a club, but we still spend our money with them. See, they consider themselves to be white and better than us because they're from the Middle East. They're not black. That is privilege, and no one did anything about it. But now that they're doing a boycott and you have all these black men standing in front of the store telling folks don't go shopping there, oh, we wrong. No, we're not. We need to stick together, and then we'll be afforded the same privileges as these white privileged folks who think that they better than us.
Wow. Hey, that's very powerful what you say. You're very educated. Wish I had more time. But you stay on my line. I got something coming up, and I want you to be a part of it, okay? Don't forget now. I
Okay,
got some serious stuff going on. We talking truth. We talking facts.
hit my
I
inbox.
know you hit my inbox. And I got you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to get Marie Mott on now. I know Marie Mott. First of all, Marie, I want you to apologize the other day you went off on, but I'm going to get my girl Marie Mott on there. I know she was just going to I have to pay the Hampton to get on there. I want to get facts. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me?
You got a lot of echo, but we can
You got a lot of echo. Okay. I just listened to the young lady talking about, this school has that, the other school has this. See, what we have to realize is that if you're going to compare, just because someone else has something different than you does not mean that there's a disparity. This difference does not mean that there's a disparity. Just because a white person accomplishes something or has an achievement, that doesn't mean that it's privilege. It means that they've achieved something that someone else hasn't. Now, let's go back to this slavery thing. We don't realize, and we were not taught this in school, but in the South, there were 1,200 black slave owners that owned other blacks. Does that mean that they had privilege? Does that mean that, there's a such thing called black privilege? Those black slave owners in the South, you remember the movie Color Purple? Color Purple was about a black slave owner that had black slaves. And so when we talk about this privilege stuff, we got to stop comparing where they got this and we don't have this and they got that. No, we got HBCUs. All right, what's our excuse now? You got a whole historically black college that were started by Republicans, by the way. 100% of them were started by Republicans. Okay? And so we just got to stop all of this comparing and they got this, we don't have this, white people have this. No, there are more of them than us. So they're going to have more. We have to learn how to partner with them, connect with them, and learn how they do things. That's where we need to be at right now. We need to be learning how do we make our school better. For instance, let me give you another example. Downtown, we built 3 black schools, 2 miles apart. All of them cost like $5 million. Brown Academy, Orchard Knob Elementary, what's the other one? And Battle Academy. And that's not even counting the one over there by Boone Heights. Those are about 4 elementary schools that we built 3 miles apart when we could have just built one. Right now, they're talking about combining Tyner and Brainerd together. They're going to give us a new school. But guess what? We fighting against that. 1,600 students in that school. The band would come back. The football team would be back. The basketball team. Brand new school, but then we fighting, saying, no, we don't want you to take our school. They're trying to give you something, give you a new school, and you fight against it. So that's what I'm saying. We're going to continue this. We can either do two things. We can keep fighting for quote-unquote equality, or we can fight for unity. I'm fighting for unity because in that unity is where we're going to get that opportunity. All right? So that's all I wanted to say, man.
Hey, this is so strong, Patrick.
Hey, this is so strong, man.
So everybody that's Patrick, y'all know Patrick is. They live.
Yeah, that's
They
what
live. I got somebody coming on.
Go ahead.
I got somebody coming on. Disagree with her. And you might disagree with her. What you getting right? And I want you getting right. Okay.
Who is that? Marie Mott.
Okay.
Bring in Marie Mott. All right, cause bring in Marie Mott. I believe she's mixed. So if she says that there's a such thing as white privilege, that means she has half of it. If she mixed.
All right, I'm gonna bring on.
Remember that.
All right, I'm gonna bring on. Call now, Marie Mott. Where you at, Marie Mott? Where Marie Mott at? Call now, Marie Mott. Where you at, Marie Mott? You told me to bring you on. Good morning.
Good morning. Number one, I'm not mixed. I am an African American woman. Let's make that clear. So let's just start there. My thing is my political beliefs have nothing to do with institutional racism, nor do my political beliefs have anything to do with white privilege, which is a byproduct of institutional racism. So let's kick the ballistics before we get started, because Patrick, I can agree with him that we need unity. Absolutely, sir. I have an agreement/disagreement when it comes to blacks being Republicans. Blacks were traditional Republicans. If people look at like elections after Ronald Reagan, a lot of the folks that are currently in the Republican Party were originally Democrats. Sheriff Jim Hammond was actually one of them. When he originally ran to be sheriff, he ran as a Democrat. He kept getting his ass kicked, and then he started running as a Republican. But through and through, even though he's a Republican, he's a blue Democrat on the inside. So let's get some ballistics before I really say what I need to say. The last time you had African Americans and white people working together for the same common cause was in 1676 during Bacon's Rebellion. Since then, you had the creation of us as a race when you are considered a Negro. We didn't create race number one. That wasn't something even created by poor white people. That was something that was created by rich white individuals who have always sought to keep poor blacks and poor whites from working together. I will agree with Patrick on that sentiment. However, when you continue to go throughout history, there are a tremendous amount of handouts that were given specifically towards white individuals. Let's read them. 1790, the Naturalization Act. So people who came from Europe before the turn of the century, originally, if you came from Europe, you could become a naturalized citizen over the African American slave that was here before you originally in 1619. Let's continue going. The Indian Removal Act. So none of this land belongs to anybody white. I do believe that there are indigenous people who this country belongs to, whose lands were stolen from them. That's why when you drive through Cleveland, you drive through downtown Chattanooga, you have those signs that say the original route of the Trail of Tears. That is because when you think about just specifically the Cherokee were originally in Louisiana and in Florida. And so those poor people had to walk. They didn't have trains and planes and boats. They were marched on their feet by white people in Florida all the way to Oklahoma. All right, let's keep going. So we have the Homestead Act, 270 million acres given specifically from the federal government to white farmers to be able to move west and Midwest. 270 million acres. That's free land, family. Let's get to, and that was in 1862. Then we have the New Deal by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, which gave white people originally access to Social Security, which gave them the right to the suburbs, which were built specifically for them, that had laws that you couldn't sell your home to a black person for 100 years. Hello, somebody. You have the FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, that was created during this. You have in 1935 with the New Deal, the Wagner Act, which excluded African Americans from unions until 1972. Come on, you have the GI Bill, which was supposed to allow African Americans who went into the services. My great-grandfather and my grandfather were both one of them, who served their country in segregated barracks, came back home after surviving World War I and World War II, and could not use their GI Bill to purchase a home nor go to school. Hello, somebody. And then we have Jim Crow laws, mass incarceration, gun wars, and everything else. So my thing is we got to be real about institutional racism. We got to be real. It doesn't mean that every white person hasn't had to work hard in their life. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what I believe in. However, what it does give, even if white people don't want it, even if white people don't ask for it, they have the benefit of the doubt everywhere they go in this country, period. So that means in their neighborhood, it doesn't even hardly matter if it's a poor neighborhood. If it's a majority white neighborhood, it's not going to be as over policed as an inner city neighborhood that is majority African American. Hello, somebody. Let's look at Patrick can't talk to me about white privilege and institutional racism when my brothers and sisters right in the West Side have the expansion of the highway that is kicking them out of their predominant neighborhood. Let's not talk about Normal Park. He wants to talk about schools. Normal Park downtown, we had to protest to get black students in Normal Park because those white folks didn't want our children to go to school with them. So let's just be real about Chattanooga. Let's be real about Chattanooga. Do black people need to get together in this city? Absolutely. We need to come together like never before. But we need to just stop dancing around the issue. James Baldwin said that we need to stop insulating white people from the truth about what has happened in history. If they don't want to learn it, if we don't want to learn it, then we're doomed. The only way that we're going to work through this is white people have to acknowledge that the only way that they've gotten what they've gotten is by excluding black people specifically. By law, not by feelings, but by law. They utilize the law against us. Hello, somebody. Don't talk to me about change or about white folks when we had to sue the city of Chattanooga just to get more than one African-American person to represent us. That's how we got a city council. It wasn't because Chattanooga and white people woke up one morning saying that they wanted to be fair and they wanted to work with us. I think most black people wouldn't mind working with white folks, but they just got something that they got to get over that has nothing to do with us. Why did they create the nigger in the first place? Why did they need him? Why did they subject his children to free labor for their personal benefit? And then once we were freed, why didn't this country steal their arms and take their arms and take their property for their insurrection against their own country? You see, that's the thing that folks don't want to talk about. Up north is different. No, it's not. There is no textile mills of the North without the cotton of the South. So there was already this agreement between this country, because the last time I checked, those 4,000 people plus who were lynched at the end of the 1800s and the beginning of the 1900s, this same government that went down into Alabama when they had a cure for syphilis and was injecting syphilis to black farmers in Alabama. See, I can talk about history. It seems as if Patrick's history is only caught up in the Republican Party and he's forgotten about all of history. So if we're going to talk about history, let's talk about it all. And it's not that I hate white people, but white people have to acknowledge what they've done. If you got a cure for syphilis, why would you go down into Alabama injecting it into black people only? Come on now, let's be real. We got to get together, because when you look at my complexion, I'm not 100% African. Neither is anybody that was born here. So we ain't got no choice but to work it out and figure it out. But there's a level of honesty of honesty that has to happen before healing. So it's just like, Tony, if I hurt you, I can't expect you to work nothing out with me if I don't come to you and say, well, Tony, I apologize for what I said or for what I did. And this is what I'm going to do to make it right. You see, you can't exclude people for hundreds of years. You can't rape them and subject them to free labor for hundreds of years. And when you had your benefit, you just tell them they need to forgive you. No, you got to go back and you got to correct that and make that right. And what we call that is reparations, family. So that means when you excluded my grandfather, you excluded my great-grandfather, you excluded everybody before him. And then you expect me somehow, after America has handed every white person, whether they wanted them or not, either it was in land, either it was in money, either it was in education or opportunity. The federal government has handed white people boots all throughout history, boots, shoelaces, and shoe shine. And none of that has been made available to the African American. Now, how can you believe in any of Martin Luther King talked about this at the end of his life, that we were coming for our check. As soon as he started stopping kumbaya and saying that white people and black children are going to get together, as soon as Dr. Martin Luther King woke up and said, we coming for our check, and America needs to be true in practice to what it says on paper, that's when he caught a bullet in the neck. Reparations, we ain't letting up, we ain't stopping. I know my rights. I know my rights. I am a naturalized citizen. I am a product of this country, and I am a countryman to everybody who is from here. And what I'm coming for is what we are owed and due for all of the exclusion that America has participated in. And I'm not asking for anything different than the ancestors who already led the way for me. The only thing I need my brothers and sisters to do is let's come together and figure out how we're going to do this in a political and intelligent type of way. And it doesn't mean we exclude white people, because to me, it's less about them. White folks, if they want to accept us, that's up to them. If they don't, the smoke is still coming. The train has left the station, and y'all better get on board. Catch up. It's all love, Patrick. I love my brother, but I just wish that he would stop, even if he disagrees with black folks. I wish he would stop his disparaging statements towards black women, towards LGBTQI. You don't have to agree with people. You don't have to like what they do. You still got to love. And if you ain't, I saw Patrick talk about all of this white privilege, and then when we had those stickers pop up downtown of those white supremacists who were recruiting white men downtown, I didn't see him keep that same energy talking about, well, if it's about unity, well, people probably not going to work for you if you believe in this white identity that you don't accept other races of people. No. That's not. Pick a side, Patrick, and that's firmly fine. But be fair if you say that you want all people to come together. Don't just disparage your community. And then when you see these white people, when you see white police officers beating the hell out of black folks, you ain't got nothing to say. When you see the sheriff talking about running your brothers out of town and putting them in the grave and putting them in jail, you ain't got nothing to say. Keep that same energy, bro. It's all love, but keep that same energy.
Wow. How you get all that out?
I put it in there. I just put it in there.
No,
it's all.
How you have all that in your body?
I've been waiting to. Patrick and me can have a conversation. I've been waiting to have a conversation with Patrick for a long time.
There, you don't go nowhere. I'm gonna bring Patrick back live. Patrick got something to say to you, so you stay on there. I'm gonna bring you back. All right.
Tell him to spit history facts, because I want to see in history where white people didn't get all these handouts that I talked about. So tell him to spit facts, not opinion.
We'll be right back. We're going in with Patrick Hamilton, all right? All right. Wow, man, this thing getting deep this morning. It's getting deep. It is getting deep. She is serious. She took a pen and wrote down. All right, Patrick.
Can you hear me?
All right, Patrick.
All right. Marie. Can you hear me? It seems like you're breaking up. All right. Is it breaking? Hold on. Okay. What I want to really discuss, we got to
handouts that I talked about. So tell him to spit facts.
Okay, I'm hearing her. Why am I hearing? Okay. Okay.
I'm going Paige, you gotta fix your phone now. He was talking and then Marie jumped back in this conversation. It was like a ghost or something. Like, wow, where'd she come from? Man, this thing is getting deep, man. We love everything that's going on this morning. Wow. So the basis is, y'all just not tune on. We talking about white privileges and different. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. I want to thank Marie Mott for spitting those facts, but you know we got to go back to the point of where slavery began. We were bought.
I think his phone, Patrick, your phone is messing up. Y'all, his phone, Patrick, your phone messed up. I don't know what happened, but your phone is messing up, Patrick. We're losing people, y'all. Man, it's so getting crazy. Uh, Let me bring Marie Mott back on. I want to give Patrick so much. Wow. So Marie, I don't know what's wrong with his phone, but it's messing up. I want you to finish your story. Maybe he'll fix his phone. I don't want. I guess for everybody else, I don't know what's wrong with his system.
My thing is that Patrick, for him to do a lot of talking, it seems in some instances like he doesn't do a lot of reading. There's a book called Slavery by Another Name. I encourage Patrick to get up by another name. But when
Go ahead. I guess all y'all phones messing up.
man, I think it's your
I guess everybody phone messing up. This is man said right, man, T Boston. I'm sorry about the miscommunication. I don't know what's going on. The more you talk about things, like somebody hating, somebody hacking in, somebody reporting something, but this is a true statement. This white bread, we're gonna continue this. Man, I can continue this tomorrow and the next day. Let me see. Let me see, Marie Mott. This thing's getting deep. It's getting deep this morning. I appreciate y'all tuning live. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Patrick seems to focus a lot on slavery. I ran through a little bit of slavery, but a lot of some of the impacts that we have towards the African American community didn't actually happen during slavery. When we talk about the New Deal, we're talking about 1935. That's right around the time when my grandmother was born. So we're talking about exclusions that happened during the start of life for my grandparent, a woman whose life I spent a quarter of my life with her. So it's not like some of this is just old or that was 400 years ago. We're talking about institutions, laws, and policies and procedures that were crystallized in the federal, state, and local government in 1935. So we're not talking about when we think about Black people not being allowed into unions in 1972, we're talking about after both of my parents were born. These weren't things that happened 400 years ago. These are things that happened in three generations of my family. So I don't understand. It's not just about Jim Crow laws or slave codes. We know about that. We know that some of the greatest advancements that we have were in part by some Republicans during Reconstruction. However, what we do see after Reconstruction is that's when we see the period of lynching, and you have Ida B. Wells going all across the country talking about
Marie,
this.
Patrick said
Yes.
the laws was created by Democrats. So what's
To me, it doesn't. This is not about political party. This is not about political ideology. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice in talking about it just from that standpoint. Democratic, Republican, to me, it makes no difference. We're one country. So it's just like, I don't give a lot of commentary just for white people. I give commentary, majority of my commentary is for my people. I have things that I say because I have white people in relationship with me and in space with me, and I want to help them understand how to be able to be relatable towards Black people. But the majority of my commentary is for my folks. So I don't understand why Patrick's commentary, if it's about unity, why is it always towards African American people and it's always disrespectful or disparaging? And my thing is that my grandmother would say all the time, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Sometimes I agree with what Patrick says, but it's how he says it that is disrespectful to our community. And my other expectation of him is only that if it is about unity, then you got to call white people on their, excuse my language, you got to call white people on their shit too. You can't just call Black people on, well, we just the only ones effed up out here. We're the only ones messing up with, no. The only difference between us and white folks is that we just haven't had institutions that were created for us to be able to have certain kinds of benefits. And if nothing else, that's the benefit of being able to be pulled over and not have a heart attack because you're not afraid that you're going to get drugs planted on you, or you're going to get beaten, or you're going to get shot if you make the wrong move. It's the simple benefit of being able to walk into a corporate American space and not have people look you up and down and say certain things to you, or the insensities of what's happening in your neighborhood, or when I've explained in corporate America to white people where I live, oh, that's a terrible neighborhood. And my next follow-up question, have you ever even eaten at a restaurant in our neighborhood? Have you ever stopped in our neighborhood? Have you ever gone to the YFD center in our neighborhood? You got a whole lot to say about a place that you've never even been to. You know, it's just the whole idea that there's a whole lot of growing up that needs to happen in the white community, the Black community. There's a whole lot of growing up that needs to happen in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. There's just a whole lot of growing up that we need to do. Is a lot of things in life about race? Absolutely, because race is America. And until we work through that, the more we keep denying it, the more we'll never work through it. Race is America. It's not anything that any white person now created. It's not something any Black person now created, but it is what it is. We can work through it. We don't have to keep slinging mud at one another, but it does require a certain level of truth about what has happened to us through our lifetime and in history. Period. History ain't my opinion. History is what it is, right? And we can accept that and work through it. All I'm saying is that we're going to have to figure out, not only in Chattanooga, but if we want this nation to survive, Republican, Democrat, Christian, Muslim, white, Black, fat, skinny, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to be able to live in peace with one another if we're going to be able to have a country that even survives.
Thank you, Marie. Stay tuned. I'm going to bring Patrick back on, and don't go nowhere. That's Marie Mott. That's Marie Mott. That's Marie Mott. God. Josh, I'm going to get you. Josh down in Mississippi. I'm going to get you. I appreciate y'all coming live.
Man, I got an iPhone 10, man.
Go ahead.
Okay. Again, first of all, let me say this, Tony. I appreciate you for having this conversation. Because it needs to be had. All of us can actually have discourse civilly without, going back and forth with each other. That's what I appreciate about this platform. And maybe this needs to happen live. But again, Marie Mott made a whole bunch of points, a lot of points about, institutional racism. We all know that happened. But how long are we going to harp on what happened during slavery and Jim Crow laws and MLK? Were you born during that time, Tony? I wasn't born during that time. The white people that are here today, they weren't born during that time. They didn't do that. And so what we have to do, and it's kind of like me and you grew up in the church, all right? You remember they used to tell us the story about Moses wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years. That's basically what we're doing. We're going around the same mountain for 40 years, and we're harping up on racism, saying, "Oh man, look at this racism. We are never gonna get in the promise. We ain't never gonna be anything." And what we have to do is find out what is our path forward. Our path forward should be.
I'm gonna bring Patrick back on.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
I don't know what's going on with your
but
phone,
I'm gonna bring you live
bring
and
you
bring some
live
TV.
and bring some TV. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, that's Patrick. I really want to hear what Patrick got to say. Him and Marie don't get into it so much. It's when he started talking, Marie Munt, some kind of way, ends up on his page. And I, so can I bring him on this way? Yeah, let's see, can we bring Patrick on this way? See what Patrick got to say. Good morning, Patrick.
Hey,
Okay, what you got to say? Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. And so, I'm just trying to find we need to find out what is our path forward.
Right.
Working on what white people have and what white people have done to us in the past. None of those people are here today. They're not alive today. Okay? And so we have to have a code of ethics of us moving forward. Even with the police. We got this situation with with the sheriff. All right. Let's say the police were wrong. But are we also going to say that dude having crack and hiding it in his crack was wrong too? I mean, when do we say, when have I heard the black community say, okay, all right, we need to stop selling crack in our communities. We need to stop shooting each other. And so I'm not coming on here trying to disparage black people. I'm just describing their behavior. And so when I describe black people's behavior, people take that as I'm going against or talking about black people. No, I'm simply explaining what their behavior is and what needs to change. All right, we talk about mass shootings. We talk about all of that. Well, in Chicago, just the same last week, 70 people were shot. Where are the black leaders that's saying, okay, this needs to stop? But as soon as a white police officer arrests somebody, we all up in arms. That is my issue, Tony. And so what we got to do, I'm done talking about the past. President Trump right now is investing $100 billion, $100 billion into urban communities. Why haven't anybody in Chattanooga on the city council or county commission thought about what do we need to do to get that federal money into our communities? No, we just gonna be mad at Trump. And we just gonna dog Trump out when he's investing $100 billion. And so when you talk about this institutional racism and all of this stuff, Barack Obama was at the top of it for 8 years.
Wow.
He was at the top. So when you say, well, we can't be racist because we don't have the power. No, you had a black man at the top. What did he do for us? Did he invest $100 billion into our communities? He didn't. And so we have even Cornel West admits that. Tavis Smiley admits that. You have a lot of black leaders that say, yeah, he could have done a whole lot better. So what do we do forward? I'm telling you what we need to do. We need to neutralize our vote. What does that mean? We need to come to the middle. We need to make the Democrats come to us and the Republican come to the black community. This is why immigration is the number one topic of the election, because Hispanics have figured it out. They was like, if we remain neutral, we bring both parties to us, and then both of them have to hear us and hear what our concerns are. But no, we are 95% in one party. That's why I talk about it so much, because we put our vote behind these Democrats and they haven't done nothing for us. Look at our inner cities. Look at our streets. They're all ran by Democrats right now.
God.
Nothing has changed. Nothing. We got a Democrat mayor. What did he do? He tore down the projects. He finna tear down the west side, but he get a pass.
Wow.
And so all I'm saying, Tony, there's a way to go forward. We got to neutralize. We got to come to the middle, make both parties come to us, come to our vote, find out what our issues are, and then move from there.
I'm gonna make that happen, Patrick. I'm gonna make that. I can make it happen. Nobody else can, but I can. All right, Patrick. You hang in there. Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna bring Marine Mott back. So Patrick, you stay tuned. I try to fix your phone, okay?
Whatever, dude.
All right. y'all see Patrick, man. Patrick good dude. Hey, Pat,
Yeah.
fix your phone, man. All right, bye.
But,
Hey, y'all. I have to bring Patrick to, we have to bring Patrick onto the other broadcast and out of the studio. Something unusual, but it happens. That's what I just showed y'all with Patrick, that's what we shooting for 2020, going straight to YouTube. It won't be no more Facebook. I just had to show y'all that. We got bigger screens. We got screens that can do that. Inside my little studio, we got screens that can put you on different screens. And I didn't want to show y'all that yet, but some kind of way it came true where Patrick had to make me show it to y'all. Let me, it's crazy, man. This thing is deep. Josh, I ain't forgot about you down in Mississippi. Marie Munt, did you hear what Patrick had to say about the white privileges, about we need to get together? And some things y'all doing, Marie Munt and Patrick, I see that y'all agreeing on some things, but the way like we say it and how we go about it, he's a black Republican and you're a black Democrat, are you, Marie? I don't know. But I'm saying y'all agree on some things, but it seems like to me that I need to bring y'all together and do it in a different way. Sometimes we mislead by what people say and how they say it. You know what I'm saying? We get to the point in our life where we think we better than this person. We better. Now let me tell you something. Patrick got good thoughts. Marie got good thoughts. It's for Celebrity Hype Man T. Boston to bring the situation together. It's a good situation. Everybody talking about it. Everybody talking about it. But how do we handle it? You know, like I said, I wasn't born back then when they did all that cotton fields up. We got to get past some things. Like, just like Michael Neal said, we as black folks got to stop dwelling on what white folks are doing. We got to get ourselves together. We got to get our community together. We got to get our money together. We got to stop hating on each other. We got to stop shooting each other. We got to stop backstabbing each other. We got to stop having sex with each other, women and men. Lord, what are we going to do as a black community? We want to make life great again. He said, we shall overcome. What are we overcoming? And we keep on doing the same thing. But my topic to you this morning, I appreciate for everybody watching this. I'm going to continue with this topic tomorrow. Patrick Hamilton, fix your phone. Marie Mott, fix your phone. My people down in Mississippi, I appreciate y'all. Y'all want to get live. We got to come together and love each other for which ourselves. I'm not racist. I'm not against white. I'm not against black. I'm neutral. I love people. And when you're in business, you got to love people. That money is green. And at the end of the day, we got to come together. May God bless you. May keep you and may He strengthen you. And everybody here, hold your head up high. If you're dealing with racism, pray about it. Won't God make a way? And like I say, come through dripping. That's why I want to show, come through dripping. And I love everybody. Continue tomorrow. Follow me. Catch me 10 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to finish with Patrick. I'm going to finish with Marie tomorrow. Make sure y'all come on my live tomorrow. We're going to make this thing go viral. May God bless you. May He keep you. May He strengthen you. If you want to comment, I'll see you in the morning. May God bless you. Bye.